Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between Emerald Hills and Blooming Gardens, there lived a kind-hearted woman by the name Mrs. Ambani. She was known throughout the village for her gentle nature and her unwavering love for her children and her husband. Mr. and Mrs. Ambani happened to be the richest in the community, and so many people were envious of their life. One night, as Mr. Ambani came back from his brother's house, he felt so dizzy and fell down on the ground, not to wake up again because he died on the spot. From this day onward, Mrs. Ambani's life took a tragic turn. She was now a widow who was left with children to take care of. In the midst of her grief and sorrow, her in-laws accused her for causing her husband's death. They sneered at her. They even spread rumors and went ahead to shave her beautiful hair as a sign of disgrace, adding to her pain and humiliation. Her children suffered alongside her, facing hounds and isolation from the villagers. Days later, Mrs. Ambani and her children were chased out of their home, claiming that Mrs. Ambani was cursed. Forced to leave everything behind, she sought shelter in a humble cottage on the outskirts of the village. Despite her hardships, Mrs. Ambani remained strong for her children. She took on odd jobs in the village, sewing clothes and tending to gardens to provide for her family. She comforted her children at night, wiping away their tears and assuring them that one day they would find justice. One fateful night, as the moon cast a silver glow over the village, the ghost of Miss Ambani appeared before his brother, haunting him and forcing him to confess. A curse rained to his heart, attracting villagers, and he ended up confessing on how he killed his brother because he was jealous of the amount of wealth and property that his brother controlled. He confessed that the lust and greed in his heart pushed him to poison his brother to death. After his confession, he fell down and died. With the truth finally revealed, Mrs. Ambani was exonerated of all her accusations. The villagers rallied to her cottage outside the village, offering apologies and support to her family. Her remaining in-laws faced the consequences. They were banished out of the village, and Mrs. Ambani and her children returned to their home. They were welcomed with open arms and warm hearts. From that day on, Mrs. Ambani used her newfound wealth and influence to help the poor and the downtrodden in the village. Her kindness and generosity knew no bound. The end. If you've enjoyed this story this far, please do not leave without giving it a like, subscribe and share, and please consider leaving a comment on the comment section telling me whether you enjoyed this story and telling me whatever city or country you're watching me from for me to give you a shout out on the next episode of Wonder Tales by Julian.